So I'm gonna get it. Hello guys, welcome back to Beyond the Realms. I am Jason, and this is
Jay, by the way, or Krazy,
or whatever the hell we come up with, because we do that quite a bit.
all the time.
Yeah.
Which makes it fun.
Yeah, always. You know, it's a spur of the moment names.
Interesting.
You know? Yeah. So today we are going to be talking about all things Batman. We are both huge Batman fans.
Mm-hmm.
And we were, trying to think of a topic to discuss this time while Krazy's over visiting. We figured, Dark Knight Rises is coming, so why not talk about Batman?
One of the most anticipated superhero films of all time.
It really is. And
Seriously.
I mean, honestly, for me, I can't think of a movie that I've looked forward to this much and this long as this one for myself. Like, because ever since this was first announced, I have just been like
following it.
We've both been talking about, like, man, we want to see it now. We're always saying that. I mean, we always get excited for movies we really want to see, but this is just
a new level of excitement.
It is,
seriously,
man, because we both feel, Christopher Nolan has just raised the bar on superhero movies, Batman movies, but superhero movies in general. And
no matter what anybody says, I mean, that's hard to dispute. I mean, you say, I mean, some people say just to spite it, but I mean, seriously,
yeah,
he's really done some awesome things for the genre.
Well, I think it's much more loved than hated, it seems like, with superhero fans. I mean, I understand, it kind of takes away the fantastical element, and that's a whole other discussion, but these movies on their own, they are very well-made, expertly crafted films. I mean,
great stories.
Yeah, exactly. And stories that I think will hold up and withstand the test of time and are going to be hard to outdo when they eventually reboot the series.
Oh, yeah, definitely, because he's, like you said, he's raised the bar, and like after Batman and Robin, like there wasn't much left, and then Batman Begins comes along and reinvigorates it.
Yeah, it really did. And then, The Dark Knight, of course, took it to a whole different level. And, we've both been talking about, how we were talking about earlier, how, we wanted to see this one right after The Dark Knight ended, because it wasn't set in stone that they were going to do one.
No.
But, I mean,
the cliffhanger was there.
Yeah, making Batman the bad guy and all this. We're also talking about how, would you mention about how they've had the ending set?
Yeah, the ending is like, they had an ending in mind, but they weren't for sure they were going to do a whole series of movies, but they did have an ending to the character in mind, which way when Begins came out.
What did you say? It was Christopher Nolan? What was the other guy?
David Goyer. He's a co-writer,
and he's the one. I actually read like a small little clip of something with him just the other day, where I actually read that, where he said they had this scene that they planned from the very beginning, and they always envisioned it being the end of their trilogy or of their story. And it turned out to be exactly how they wanted it.
He got chills or something.
Completely envisioned how they envisioned it. That's how it turned out to be for the end of this. Yeah, so it's really cool they were able to see their vision through.
Yeah,
which doesn't happen very often.
No, but Nolan has that power now.
Yeah,
after Inception, I mean, everything he's done is like gold, just about.
So, since we want to talk about all things Batman, how about we go back to the beginning? Both share our beginning stories of Batman. Like,
that's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, what was your first story of Batman?
89, when Tim Burton's first Batman came out. Like, I remember vividly having the action figures and going to see the show. I'm pretty sure, and like as soon as I saw that movie. I mean, I was insanely hooked. And I've been a Batman fan before, but like, I mean, being that age, I mean, I was about, when I saw the movie, I was probably like 7 or 8. It was probably younger.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, I just remember that movie having a profound impact. And like, whenever I went down to my grandparents' house, I used to stay there all the time, and I had movies I'd watch constantly. And that's a movie, Batman 89 is a movie I'd constantly play while I had my action figures out playing the same thing. And like that moment is just burned into my brain, and that is why Batman is my favorite superhero.
Yeah.
And
it's really wild because, we actually have not discussed this at all beforehand, but our stories are very similar, except mine kind of goes back a little bit before that, because my dad grew up with the 60s TV show, and back when I was a kid, they would show those on TV a lot. They would rerun them. So I caught a lot of those at the time, you know. But when you see those, you know, they're very campy. And as a kid, you know, it was cool to me. I loved the characters, the colors, and how over the top it was. But I didn't take it real serious. But then when Batman '89 came out, I can remember very vividly. It was on a Friday night. You know, my dad's worked second shift for years, and my dad was at work. So me and Mom were going to get tickets, and his Friday night showings were like completely sold out. And in that day and age, that was unheard of, at least from what I had experienced. There was a theater in Middletown. It used to be called Townie Cinemas.
Oh, over there? Yeah.
That's where it was showing.
Oh.
And we went over, and it's like, man, wow, every single showing is sold out. Well, they didn't do advanced ticket sales then either, like for even the next day. So we just had to come back, and we were thinking, man, will we even be able to get in for the next day for this thing? You know, it's such a big event. That was like the first big event movie that I can remember. You know, because I was 12 years old when it came out. And, you know, I was the same way. That was like right at the tail end of me, like playing with toys. But, you know, and it was really kind of phased out at that point. But I was just so into Batman. I was like, oh my God, I had the Batcave, man. I had the Batmobile.
Yeah, Joker,
it was the same
and the
way.
Goons.
Yeah, because when it got released on home video, you know, it was all VHS.
VHS.
I still have my VHS copy of that. But it was VHS, and I would watch it religiously.
With a gold cover.
Yeah. It had the gold Batman symbol on the cover, and then Batman at the top. Yeah. And I did the same exact thing. I would sit there
That's awesome.
and act out the stuff I was seeing on the screen.
That's crazy.
It is pretty wild. You know, and then for me, Batman Returns was really cool too. I was still into it heavily then.
Oh yeah.
And then, you know, the Batman and Robin, I really liked it because then I was becoming, you know, I really liked Jim Carrey, so I thought it was cool they brought him as a Riddler. But my interest was kind of Forever. That's right. Yeah, I get those two.
They're about the same.
Yeah, Batman and Robin. Oh God, we don't want to go there. But anyway, my interest was kind of wanting then. You know, it was kind of just But then, you know, Batman Begins is what really got me back into it. And then, you know, after Dark Knight, actually just couple years ago started diving into the graphic novels. I think we both
the same time. Because I hadn't been as into the graphic novels, but thanks to the Nolan movies, that's how I got interested in the ones that he was playing off of, and even more so the other stories
like Year One, and then I also the Dark Knight Returns. And then you start getting into the ones about Bane.
Yeah, Nightfall.
The
Nightfall saga.
Which I've read the first volume, but still haven't read them all yet.
I finished them, and they're amazing.
Yeah. So I think there's, you know, little hints as to what will happen
in those. Stories are almost. And another one called No Man's Land, and I haven't read that one.
Yeah, but is Bane's in that one too?
No, he's not in that one. That's a completely different story.
Okay.
But I guess it has shades of that too, which is cool. But I read The Long Halloween, and that's one of my favorite graphic novels of all time. Even just after one read.
It's what is it?
The Holiday Killer.
Yeah, the Holiday Killer, where he does a holiday-themed kill.
Yeah, and Batman and Gordon and Dent have that relationship, just like they do in The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Yeah. And then there's a sequel. Isn't it Dark Victory? Is the sequel?
That's it.
Which I haven't read that one yet. I plan on picking it up. But yeah, I have the Long Halloween.
I heard that one was good too.
Yeah, but man, the Long Halloween's just excellent.
Oh, such a phenomenal graphic novel.
Yeah, and I've also, Year One, man, that one's just amazing.
I love that one.
It's great. But Dark Knight Returns, that's out of the ones I've read, that's probably my favorite. And I just, you know, Batman being, you know, in his late 50s, he's retired. He wants to get away from it all.
Yeah.
You know, and then he's drawn back into it from all the chaos that's still going on in Gotham City and continuing to get worse. And it seems like there's going to be some parallels from that in this one too, because this
8 years later,
8 years after Dark Knight, which would put him in his early. It was supposed to be in his early 40s then, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because he was 30 when he started.
Yeah, around
30 and Batman Begins.
Yeah.
And that was a couple years. Dark Knight came a couple years after that, and then this is supposedly 8 years afterwards, which in reality it's only 4 years after.
Yeah, that's interesting though too.
Yeah, or 5. Is it 5? That's 4.
Yeah, that's 4.
Yeah, 4. 2008 was Dark Knight.
Yeah.
So yeah, it really makes you wonder where they're going to go with this. They've kept so many things under wraps,
and that's what's been great about it too, is because like nobody does that anymore. Like we talked about that.
Yeah, so many things leak so easily.
And it doesn't make movies that as much fun. But like this, it's like You don't know what's going to happen. And I love that.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going to happen and what it's all about. That's fun.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that makes you actually want to go and see it.
Yeah.
And you know, and with the internet, everything gets spoiled. And I would highly avoid reading spoiler reviews. If you want to see this movie cold, see it cold. That's the funnest way to see it.
And you know, another thing that's going to be cool about this is this. You know, when Dark Knight Rises comes, it's going to be our first time both going to a midnight screening. Neither one of us has done it. You know, which is kind of amazing. You know, the cinephiles we are, and how much we look forward to shit like, you know, Prometheus, going to see that tomorrow. But this will be our first time going to a midnight screening.
Yeah.
It's going to be really awesome. And tickets go on sale Monday, which by the time this is showing, or by the time I'm putting this up, they will already be on sale. Fandango said they are going to put them on sale, which would put the date as Monday, let's see.
The 11th.
Exactly. Is it the 11th? Yeah. Monday, June 11th, Fandango is supposedly going to be putting the Dark Knight Rises tickets on sale. So, and we also recommend IMAX, right? Because
over an hour of footage was shot that way, and they cut 50 minutes in, so 50 minutes of footage in IMAX on screen. So that is the format to see it in.
Yeah.
Honestly, and because the way he puts always, Nolan describes it as like, that's the, you know, such a broad format, and so even better than 3D, because like, I guess it's just such a, you know, such an immersive format.
Well, and it is, because, you know, I've only personally saw 2 movies in IMAX. The first one being 300, which, yeah, it was amazing, you know, but it's been so long ago. Well, then recently I just watched, you know, Dark Shadows in IMAX, and, you know, I was just amazed at how much it does take you into it. And I don't know if it was just a projection at this theater or what, but the quality was so amazing. You know, I'm always saying, you know, Blu-ray is so much better in a theater, and it always is, except this time with Dark Shadows. Dark Shadows was as good as any Blu-ray I've seen, which really surprised me in the theater. And that also, in turn, has me really psyched up for Prometheus tomorrow. And then, you know, Dark Knight Rises, of course, coming up, because the trailer for Dark Knight Rises in IMAX, oh man, just wait, because I'm sure they're going to show it tomorrow.
Oh, I hope so.
It is just, it's phenomenal. I mean, it's just so phenomenal looking.
That's
awesome. Just the epic scale that Nolan's, you know, going for, and I'm sure without a doubt he's going to pull off in this film.
Oh yeah, no doubt. And like he also, like the movies are like 3 different styles too. Yeah. Batman Begins is more like origin story superhero film.
Yeah.
Then Dark Knight is crime drama.
Yeah,
definitely
heist.
Yeah, heist style.
Yeah.
And then this is war movie. And the trailers show that too.
And man, you know, and the whole war movie aspect just really, you know, because you know it's not going to be good for Batman and Gotham, like, for the whole time, because Bane obviously just blows the shit out of the whole town. You see it. Bridges you see the Batmobile getting blown up, thrown around like a toy car. You see fighting on the court stairhouse.
That's what's cool too, is because, like, you know, in the first 2 movies, it's been hinted that Gotham, they want to destroy Gotham, obviously, and this movie looks like it is destroyed. Yeah. Or it's getting there.
Yeah, he's totally trying to take it down.
Yeah, and then the epic the battles in the streets was just like, wow.
Now, I know you saw the prologue. What did you think of the prologue?
I liked it a lot. I did. I mean, the problem was I saw it on a computer screen.
Yeah.
But even then, even seeing that much, I liked what I saw. His voice wasn't near as good as it sounds in the trailer.
Yeah, they have fixed it.
But I can't believe what they did. They freaking blew up the plane and have it hanging
like wings off.
Yeah, and shot that all like for real. That's insane.
Yeah, without CG there too, which is pretty amazing. You know, I saw it the same way. I saw bootleg online before, you know, it was yanked. Now it's hard to find. I mean, I'm sure you could find it if you looked. And you know, I liked it. I was impressed with it, but not nearly as impressed as the prologue with the Dark Knight.
That's what I thought too.
You know, because that, I mean, man, come on. I mean, that's just really hard to top. It's the prologue to that is so awesome. Like, the first time you see it, you're not sure what the hell's going on. You know, there's a bank robbery, and you're like, what the hell? All these people are getting killed. And
I always think it's like a different movie almost.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
And it's just so genius how all of that was just pulled off. And then, you know, you get the reveal of the Joker, and he pulls out the buses. You know, it's
on another level.
And see, I mean, for me, you know, The Dark Knight is just it's on a different level than any other movie. I mean, if this movie does top that, I gotta say, it'll be surprised because I just still hold that movie in such high regard, probably even more, and I can watch it time and time again.
I just
and
watched
never
it
get
last
tired.
night.
Yeah, I've watched it like 2 or 3 times just in the past couple of weeks. I mean, you know, I usually don't watch it that frequently, but I've been watching more frequently lately. But I never get tired of that movie.
Me
man.
either.
I hope Dark Knight Rises is even better than that. I mean, I don't see it. But I mean,
it seemed like it's going to be that close to that level.
It could be, man. I mean, I don't know.
It's going to be tough for me too because the Joker's like my favorite Batman villain too.
Yeah.
And Heath Ledger just went above and beyond with how well he did.
Yeah.
And that whole movie as a whole is just so amazing.
It is, and you know, I think, you know, I'm sure we'll do an on the road review for, you know, Dark Knight Rises, and you know the thing is though with Nolan's films is it's like it's going to be hard to watch that in just one viewing and give a really good solid opinion
and get everything.
There's just so much to it because we've already both talked. We're going to see this multiple times in the theater. I know several of my friends are going to be doing the same thing. But see, that's what Nolan's movies does, man. It's not just disposable entertainment. He makes films like a lot of directors don't. You know, you may be calling this a Nolan suck off session or whatever. He's a great filmmaker. I don't care.
He is. I don't care.
He's just an amazing filmmaker.
His track record speaks for itself.
He hasn't let me down, man. Everything of his that I've seen, he has just completely impressed me, and that's why I can do nothing but praise the guy. And until he lets me down, that's what I'm going to do. But like I was saying, his films, you can't just watch them one time and say, okay, yeah, that was a good film. His films are the ones that you can watch time and time again, and you get more out of it, and you get more understanding and different understandings out of it from just different times that you see it, different emotions and moods that you can be into. It just amazes me, man.
And how you know different they are too. I mean, every single one of them is a different style of film.
And you said you still haven't seen Memento, right?
No.
Oh my God! And see, that's the first Nolan film I saw before he became Christopher Nolan. You know, I mean, I saw that when it first came out. You know, not in the theater. I didn't get to see it in the theater. But I saw it on home video, and I was just like, that movie is just amazing. There's so many films that's came out that's similar to that since then, but it's such a groundbreaking way of doing films, you know. And then after that, then he's got what's the one?
Insomnia. He did that one.
I've seen that one time. I've seen it one time. It's good. I just haven't watched it again. And then
Batman Begins was it?
Yeah, Batman Begins. But then the one with Christian Bale, the magic movie.
Oh, Prestige.
Awesome film.
Man, that's one of my. Amazing. You turned me on to that one too.
Totally amazing.
Man,
film.
I just got that on Blu-ray, and I've been meaning to watch that again. But I one watch, and I love that movie.
Yeah. It's great, and Memento will be the same way,
I need
man.
To
I
see
guarantee.
That.
And I've got it. What's crazy? I've got it on Blu-ray, and I still haven't watched it on Blu-ray yet. I bought it because I found it for like $7. I just haven't watched it yet. It's because that special edition was getting ready to come out. I got the bare bones, whatever, but it doesn't matter.
$7.
Yeah,
and I bet it looks amazing.
And then of course, you know, if we're going to talk about Nolan films, we also have to talk about Inception.
Oh, yeah.
Which is my personal favorite movie out of the past decade. I mean, I'll just go ahead and say it. For me, it's my favorite movie out of the past decade. I've heard a lot of people say, you know, they think it's convoluted, this and that. Well, I can see that and understand it. I mean, I personally, I didn't think so. I thought it was just amazing myself.
Yeah, I like that one. But it's just, I had trouble identifying with Cobb. I mean, that's one of my I just can't identify with that guy. I thought he was not necessarily a good person. I mean, and that's good too.
Well, really, and they're not. I mean, they're not good people because they're going in and deceiving people by planting thoughts in their brains.
Oh yeah,
they are bad.
I mean, I love what he did with some of the stuff he pulled off is insane. Like the hallway and the city, and I mean, just the dreamscapes in general.
It's amazing. Like when Paris folds back on itself.
Yeah, I mean, like that is just. And what we talked about before is like he is another guy who does things in camera practical, and today that is so like it's lost, and that is a shame.
Yeah, even if you think Christopher Nolan's overrated, if you don't like his films, whatever, that's something that has to at least be respected. I mean, it has to be. If you're into filmmaking, a cinephile, I mean, you have to at least respect that. You know?
Oh my! He's one of my biggest idols as far, and I consider myself a filmmaker, and like he's one of my biggest inspirations because if I can do it on camera, I do it on camera. CGI is such, I don't have a problem with it. I don't. I mean, I think it's important for progression. In certain things.
It has its place.
But also, it's like it's lazy too. And if you can do it practically, do it practically.
Yeah.
And this guy's flipping over semis and having the tanks running the big dump trucks. That's crazy.
And like in the next film, with the whole plane thing, where that's all
dipping over a plane.
Shot,
it's I look up to that. That is insane. As a filmmaker, I think that is something that's so commendable.
It's incredible. So yeah, we got off a little bit of topic here, kind of
but he's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, you can't talk about Batman topics and go into these Nolan films without going into talking about Nolan too. I mean, especially as big a fan we are. But getting back to Batman, okay. Now here's a tough one. What's your favorite Batman? Which one is your favorite? Which version of Batman is your favorite? Is it Christian Bale? Is it Michael Keaton? Is it George Clooney? Is it Val Kilmer? Or is it Adam West?
I like Christian Bale a lot.
Yeah.
He really, and Michael Keaton's a close second.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, and his Batman voice, everybody always complains about it. That has never bothered me at one second.
I mean, the thing that I thought right away with Batman Begins, my first thought when I heard that voice is like, finally, this makes sense. I mean, how are you going to put a guy in a mask and he's around every other person that he's around when he's Bruce Wayne, and somebody's not going to recognize his fucking voice? That's the thing with Christian Bale and Batman Begins. When I heard that voice, heard him disguise his voice, I thought, finally, they're doing something that makes logical sense for him to disguise his voice. Now, he's doing the, whatever, and I know people, it's easy to make fun of, but to me it just made sense,
It makes sense.
And then when I start hearing people talk a bunch of shit about it, I was like, damn, to me it was cool.
Never even bothered
I
me.
thought right away that's just the most logical thing for him to do.
And he's not going to talk like Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
He's just not.
I mean, for me, I've been a huge, ever since I saw American Psycho, man, I've just been a huge Christian Bale fan. I think the guy, really, I think anything he touches turns to gold, basically. I mean, I love all, he's a very good character actor. I mean, The Machinist. I mean, there's just so many
I liked him in Terminator Salvation.
Terminator Salvation, I did too, man. It's another one that gets shit on. Yeah, it has its problems, but I still like it, man.
I do too.
The Machinist, I just adore that movie. Even Equilibrium. You don't hear many people talk about that Christian Bale
film. That's a great
movie. It's kind of a take on the Matrix, but a little bit different. But I've just always been a big Christian Bale fan. I love him as Batman. I think if I had to narrow down Batman, I would have to split it in two here. I would have to go Bruce Wayne. I like Christian Bale the best. I think he pulls off the playboy. You believe that he's rich. You believe that he runs Wayne Enterprises. You believe that he's very confident in what he does.
Yeah.
I really like him as Bruce Wayne a lot. Now, in the Batman character, yes, don't get me wrong, I think he's great. And like I said, I love how he disguises a voice. I love how he does the things. But in the actual Batman role, I would take Michael Keaton as being best in the Batman
That's
role.
Cool. I can see that too.
Michael Keaton was more campy as Bruce Wayne, and it kind of is as Batman too. But I like his Batman.
I love his Batman was awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It was it's the broodiness is perfect and everything. But his Bruce Wayne was a little too lighthearted.
Yeah,
not compared to Christian Bale's, which is way more downtrodden.
Which I guess that's just the tone of those films too. Which overall, Tim Burton's films are more lighthearted. It's more your traditional comic book style, which it's great. I love that, you have that universe you can watch, or you can watch the more serious, realistic tone of
or the campy Schumachers.
Yeah, and even clear back to the TV
the
show,
60s,
shit like that.
West, which is perfect.
And even the original Batman movie, with
and the comics matches with the movies in a way, and that's what they even said that in a documentary on the original Batman series, that franchise. One of the I think Bob Kane's wife or something was like, it's cool because these movies are all different. The Tim Burton is for that time was the more serious. And then Joel Schumacher's come and brought the cartoonish aspect back.
Yeah.
That's exactly what she said, and that totally makes sense. But now we have another era, which is like the Nolan's era, which is an even more serious thing, which is really cool.
And it really makes you wonder because they've Warner Brothers has already said they are going to reboot the series. They say that there is going to be a definitive ending with The Dark Knight Rises. You know, at first we kind of speculated Batman's going to die, but the more I thought about that, man, it's just too predictable. I don't think he's going to. And plus, what pretty much solidifies that Batman's not going to die at the end of this is Christian Bale saying that he would play Batman again.
Yeah, I read
if Christopher Nolan came back. So he obviously isn't going to die at the end of this.
Yeah. And that's no spoiler. I mean,
and it's not.
That's common knowledge.
Yeah, and that's really just an opinion right now.
Yeah.
I mean, we have no solid fact that he's not going to die, but I almost guarantee it. You know,
and Nolan isn't predictable like that.
Nah, he's not going to die. I think my personal opinion, what's going to happen is Batman is going to be dominated throughout that movie. There's going to be little glimmers of hope of where he's going to start to come back or whatever. I think he's just going to be really dominated by Bane, but in the end he's going to overcome Bane, and I think he's just going to step down from being Batman. But I think that they're going to pull it off in a way to where it's a bookend to their trilogy.
Finale.
That's what I think. What do you think the ending, how it's going to be? I mean, just speculation.
I could see that same thing going on, definitely. I mean, I definitely see him getting hurt. Because that's what the trailers have strongly been hinting at.
Yeah.
Even being thrown in a prison of some type, which is like, and then he's going to come back for his rising retribution.
Yeah.
And that's what I think too. Is like, I hope no Robin for this. This.
I don't think so. I don't think that they will. I mean, I know.
I don't think so.
You know, when they show the scene with the football field, and some people pointed out the R as being the Robin symbol. Like, oh God, does this mean Robin's in it? But no, I don't think they'll do it. And I've heard other people speculating that they think that maybe he'll rise up, he'll beat Bane, and then he'll hand off the Batman mantle to somebody else. I mean, possibly, but I just can't see Nolan leaving it open like that.
No, that's
because they're saying the legend ends. I mean, they're really touting this as being a finale. And I remember clear back when this was very first announced that Warner said that they would reboot the series after this because there was that definitive in it. Yeah, they were saying it a couple years ago that they were. This was definitely
because this is Nolan's
the
last
end of Nolan's film.
I think he's going to produce the next one. At least produce.
Yeah, I think. Yeah,
but creatively, besides that, nothing.
And it really, what do you think? Do you have any speculation for tone, like for the next series?
That's tough because, like,
I mean, will they keep it serious? Like, I don't think they're going to keep it serious. I mean, they may keep it dark, but I can kind of see him going back towards more of a comic book,
but also retaining a seriousness too.
Yeah,
because I don't see it going back way campy.
No,
Warner Brothers wouldn't want that.
Nah, they're not going to go the Schumacher route.
Not again.
I don't see them.
No way.
That just wouldn't fly with today's audiences either, man. People
That's
just
true. They wouldn't buy it.
They accept superhero movies at a little bit higher standard than that nowadays. People take it a little bit more serious. It's hard to say, but I'm glad they're going to continue it on because
I'm a Batman fan.
Yeah, Batman is. It's hard to argue him being the biggest superhero.
Oh yeah,
most popular, the biggest. I mean, there's tons of big ones. Spider-Man and Thor, whatever, X-Men, all that. And
I still take Batman over all that.
But Batman's still, man, he's that cultural phenomenon that's carried on for
even more so than Superman, which is crazy. Because Superman's like the all-American hero.
Yeah.
And I figured here like that would be a lot more popular, but. I mean, I always like Batman just because he's an everyman, even though he's a billionaire.
Yeah, exactly.
And in Superman, it's just there's no challenge.
Yeah.
You know that he's gonna win all the time out, every time, And it's like, where's the surprise there? That's why, like, Man of Steel, I'm not even super psyched about that.
Yeah.
I mean, while I'm sure I would go see it, it's just like, I'd just rather see another Batman even then.
Yeah. I'll probably see the new Spider-Man and Superman both, but I mean, it's not anything like Batman with me. It's just like, okay, I'll see him. I mean,
not rushing out.
Yeah, I may see him in a theater, but I doubt it.
I'm the same. Like, I'm not blown away by the Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah, I mean, I actually, the trailer impresses me more than I expected, but
yeah, I thought that too.
Yeah.
But it's just like, I'm not like, whoa.
Yeah.
I mean, because I like Spider-Man, I do, but like, I really did like Tobey Maguire's take.
Yeah.
And Bold Batman is just they'll always be my favorite superhero.
Yeah, it makes you wonder who will be the next Batman.
Yeah, because
I mean,
yeah,
that's
and after
totally
Christian Bale,
that. And then now we also have to mention how it's recently been announced that they're going to start writing at least a Justice League movie. You know how that goes. That doesn't by any means mean it's going to actually happen. So what does that mean for Batman? Does that mean that maybe Christian Bale will play Batman in that?
Ooh,
probably not though. I mean, they'll probably just go with another Batman. But if they do put another Batman into the suit for that movie, will that be the one that takes over the next franchise when the reboot
Whoa,
happens?
that's interesting too.
Or will that just be a standalone one-time Batman?
Yeah, that's true.
It's hard to say.
I bet. Yeah, because it could really go anywhere after this.
Yeah,
seriously.
I would have a feeling that if they did it, that they would want a little bit of continuity there.
They would have to.
I mean, I would think that if they're going to put somebody new in the suit, that would be somebody that would carry over the new franchise.
I would hope
so. I mean, because
more sense.
Yeah, because look at the Avengers movie. I mean, other than Incredible Hulk, they've kept good continuity between the characters up to the Avengers and afterwards. And, the whole Avengers success is what got the ball rolling for Justice League. So they're probably going to try to follow that formula a little bit.
That'd be the best formula to follow.
Yeah.
It really would.
Shit, yeah, man. You're talking a tune of $1.5 billion. I mean, right now, worldwide.
Jeez.
Incredible, man.
That's the power of superhero movies too.
Yeah.
Which is why.
Yeah.
I mean, they've really over these past few years they've just blown up, and like it's that's a great thing for them too.
Yeah.
It's great to hear.
Yeah, I enjoy them.
I do too. They're fun.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about.
So yeah, I mean, is there anything else you want to add for as far as Batman talk goes?
I think we've covered a lot.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good.
Go see The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah. Yep, and I'm sure you've heard a million other people saying that, but hey, we're going to say it too.
Yeah, not to overhype it, but I mean, geez, it looks amazing.
So we're sitting at just a little more than a month to go. It's getting close. July 20th is almost here. Just a little more than a month, man. I can't believe it after so long of thinking, oh my God, we got a year and a half to go. I mean, that's what I mean, man. I've never looked forward to a movie that long, man. Like,
Me too.
As soon as it was announced, I'm just like, oh my God, it's gonna happen.
Like even after The Dark Knight, we were like, like as soon as The Dark Knight,
I can't wait for the
next one.
It's just now it's finally
it's
almost
here. Man, it's
awesome.
like Christmas almost.
Yeah. So we will be, like I said, going to the midnight premiere of that IMAX.
A midnight review.
Yes, and we will definitely be doing an on-the-road review. And one thing else we have to mention about this is, how long do you say this? The running
2 hours and 45 minutes.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's the longest running superhero.
And I'm going to be
definitely.
the longest Batman.
Well, I can't think of any other superhero movie that runs that long.
Well, Avengers wasn't that long.
No, Avengers is like
hour.
2 hours and 10, maybe that long.
Yeah,
it's something
I can't
like
think
that.
of anything.
So
I wasn't even bored of The Dark Knight. Like two and a half hours.
Either,
2 hours in Batman Begins, I wasn't bored either.
Yeah.
And that's what that's what separates these movies too. Is like I mean I was bored during Lord of the Rings.
But
come on, man. Sorry, but I mean during these movies everybody complained how The Dark Knight was way too long. I didn't think that. I was entertained the whole way through.
I'm with you, man. Same way. Yeah, I think that it makes sense though, because Nolan puts so much into the movies, and to wrap up this trilogy, there's still a lot to happen when you watch The Dark Knight, you know, and how everything is. I mean, to wrap everything up.
Yeah.
It's what it doesn't surprise me. I mean, it kind of does because of a superhero movie being that long, being 3 hours, you know. But again, you know, it really doesn't. You know, if they're going to do it and do it right, I can see it being that length. At least, you know, they're not going to condense it and chop.
They're not going to chop. They're not going to leave anything out.
Yeah,
they're going to end it.
They're not going to leave anything out. Also, just for the sake of thinking, you know, well, we do a 3 hour movie. You know, we might not get the same box office we would if we did an hour and 45 minutes. You know, you know, I'm glad that, you know, that's the thing, man. Another thing about Nolan, you know, I really respect is, you know, he'll stick to his guns.
Telling
like that. Like, I haven't heard anything like that, but you know how studios are, man, and stuff. And I could see him totally just saying, no, this is my movie.
Yeah, and they won't fight him because they know it's they're gonna make way more than their money back.
And everything the guy's done has turned to gold. I mean, there's really not any disputing that right now as far as success goes in his career.
Yeah.
You know, so just have to see how it goes from here. But yeah, we're both looking forward to it. We hope you guys enjoyed our little discussion here.
Thanks for checking it out.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I'm Jason.
Crazy J or J.
All right, guys, thanks for watching Beyond the Realms. Have a good one.
Later.